Good evening, one and all. Hope you are doing well. I'm going to be having a shorter stream tonight because I got started late. So, I know, nothing all that special. It's going to be so exciting. We're going to get through a lot of stuff tonight. It's going to make you just thrilled. Or it will bore everyone. It will at least hopefully be some more progress here. Anyway, getting started. By the way, I know that nobody's watching this part, but should someone see it later on, there's a subject that I've been wanting to explore, and I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet. It will be a heavy one, very heavy. Has to go over a conversation that I had with someone recently. I want a little bit more time to pass so I can think about it, but there's some areas I've been avoiding on some of these discussions, and I think it's almost time to start going into it. Anyway, I know, it makes everyone so excited to hear that. Whoop-de-doo. Hey, greetings there, Jacob Ironside. How are you doing these days, sir? What is happening in your life? This is one of the frustrating parts of this animation, is doing the multiple parenting. This is not going to turn out so well. All I got to do is hopefully refine it just enough to where it will be passable. Up late and need to go to bed. I'm good, trying to stay out of the Texas heat. Ye old Texas heat. Yeah, that will get to you. Thankfully, I don't have to deal with that. It snowed on the mountains up here. No, I would have to hike up the mountains to be able to get to it, but hopefully you are able to find some opportunity to cool down and get some good rest. Be sure to soak your shirt in cold water before you go to bed. It's a guaranteed way to cool you down. And also maybe give you a bit of a chill as well, but that's beside the point. Texas heat. Can't say I've been in Texas any more than half an hour. It was such a I do not do so well with the heat, as many Alaskans become kind of weak to it. If we were a Pokemon type, we would all be kind of an ice type, and fire would be our arch nemesis. Have a good night, man. Same to you. Rest well, Jacob. There's a static there. Been having a little bit of static with this new setup. I need to make sure to double check that. See if there's anything that might be messing up. Golly. Hey, greetings there, Jersey. How you doing? Just FYI, the category is Fortnite. What the heck? Thanks for the notification there, Jess. That, it's a little peculiar. I wonder if it's automatically trying to set it. Perplexing to me. Anyway. That's most helpful, though, for, clarifying that. That was weird. Stand by. I got to keep an ear open for that. Something weird is happening with the electricity on this. Sound devices always frustrate me. They're very, very finicky. Hey, greetings there, Ad Hill. How you doing? Much appreciated. Something is definitely glitching on my end. Hopefully there's nothing like updating in the background. Let's go. Come on to slow work. That's what I'm having to go along with. For me, shouting "come on" is usually a good sign of that. Oh no, something's breaking. From Kerala, India. Hey, nice. Can't say that I've been to India before. Been to other areas around the world, but South Asia and Africa has not really been on the list yet. Hopefully you're having a pleasant day and that the weather is, not too terribly hot. For me and my Alaskan blood, that temperature would cause me to melt. I believe I'm probably going to get it mispronounced. So let me say, is it Ad Hill? I believe that's what it is. I'm not very good with my pronunciations. I have learned that much. Is the wildfire crossing over to Alaska? Thankfully, no. Usually when the wind is coming through, it's coming over us and then into Canada. And then it goes from Canada down into the rest of the country. But I've not seen any fires in the area. We've been getting a breeze that comes straight from the Pacific right now. So depending on where that fire is located, we could be dealing with smoke maybe later on in the week. The wind could change directions, and that could be a little frustrating. It does cause quite a bit of issues for us if it's nearby, because then it's not only smoky, your lungs start kind of seizing up on you. Quite a problem with when the smoke was around the area a couple of years ago. Thankfully, we've not had smoke in probably about 4 or 5 years. It's been a while. All right, this guy is moving way too fast. I want him to be able to jump away, but this is like unbelievably fast. I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to, Ad Hill. Not entirely sure what you're referring to. My apologies. Something is definitely updating in the background. Something's very wrong here. Uh-huh. There is something updating in the background. Dagnabbit. Ah. Stupid Windows. That's indeed frustrating. So, let it slide for a moment. Let me change out of studio view, see if that helps out a little bit. Just realized that green screen was not completely lit there. Jersey says, do you know how orthographic view options work? Like on a 55 millimeter, my character looks very thin, but on 100 to 150, it looks good. It is really confusing to me. So orthographic is, think about it like this. The world is 3D. If you are looking at this, you see right there that there's a cup. When I move it closer to you, the cup looks bigger. What just happened? Perspective. It's further away, it's closer. Orthographic gets rid of perspective. Orthographic then makes this look flat. It's almost like it is further away. It is removing all dimension and just making it look like it's a 2D sketch. So that way, kind of like what you have right here, I'm able to see where the worm is on the hook from the side. Now, if I turn it to 3D, that looks fine. But if I change the focal length, notice what happens to the scene. It distorts. Zoom in, it's a little bit more flat looking. Orthographic is in that same sort of vein. So when I look from the side, for example, I'm able to see things flat from this direction. But if I'm in perspective, notice that the fins have disappeared a little bit from the fish. Let's go back to orthographic. You can see them because we're looking almost as if we're looking through a telescope from a very, very, very long distance away. Anthill, you have a very strange set of things that you're referring to. By the way, just so you know, I kind of got a sneaking suspicion. India, really. And also, let's go. Love you, man. I'm going to give you a bit of a warning here. I got a sneaking suspicion about you. You might want to drop the act. Move on if that's what you're trying to do. Otherwise, I might have to report you. Do not think me dumb. Okay, so he jumps and okay, that is not good floating there. Let us change that a wee bit more. So he goes from here to there. Yeah, that's way too much. Let's grab this and move that down. And then grab this one and move that down. About to have a Discord beep, beep. Indeed. Or should I say, there's that beep. Yeah, sorry, I meant perspective then. The character looks perfect in orthographic, but in perspective, it looks bad. So that makes more sense. Let's go over lens choices. So your eye, in fact, I believe for the most part it is static, but I do know it can fluctuate on some people. But more or less, your eyes are going to be at a static zoom. Birds have the ability to actually zoom in like it is a telescope. It's quite fascinating. What you're doing with perspective. Let's go to this view up here. So this is our camera. Right now, this is the setup that we have, but let's say, for example, let's change the focal length. Notice if I move it down, I'm right now at 8 millimeters. The character is zoomed out. It's kind of a fisheye lens. The smaller that number is, the more of a fisheye lens it is. It's very fitting for this, isn't it? Huh? I know, inspiring. When we zoom in, we get closer to an orthographic. Now, what are you supposed to do when you're choosing a lens? Basically, it's based upon where your camera is. If your camera is right next to your character, it's best to have it around 20 to 30. If you're further away, you want it to be at 100. But you don't want your camera to be too far away. So we're going to move the camera back. And then we're going to zoom in on the camera. So again, we're looking at the area here on the left. We're going to zoom in. Now, is this better than what we had earlier? I would say no. The reason why is because the human eye wants to see things within a certain range. This is good for, let's say that you're in a plane and you're trying to look down at something and you're following what the person in the plane is looking at. This allows you to focus on it. But if you want it to feel more natural, you're going to have it closer to your subject and a little bit wider. Smaller number for the focal length. Hopefully that works for you. Try and avoid the 100 to 150 unless you want that telescopic sort of effect. If you want natural, open it up, make it a little bit wider. Between the number 20 and 50, maybe 70, but not much higher than that. Try to avoid that. All right, let's look at this thing that Jess has. The haze of the smoke at 11 p.m. in Walmart. Ugh. Yeah, that's not very pleasant. Hopefully it clears up before long. You know, the only time that I actually wore a face mask willingly was when it was super, super smoky out. And it was causing all of us to start to have huge breathing problems. And so I had a mask on in order to filter out the smoke. Let's see here. We want... There we go. Let's add a smoking emote. Very fitting. What the heck? Okay, there we go. Anyway. Stand by just a second. I want to do something. Because I've gotten verification at this point. I suspected that much. Anyway, I made a 2D character reference sheet and followed it 1-to-1 for the orthographic. Ugh, I don't know. The whole perspective thing fries my brain. Just stick it within the 20 to 50. You'll be just fine with it. There's some things like, for me, I didn't spend a lot of time trying to learn the focal lengths. It didn't really bother my my creative process. Find a reference, a sheet that shows what camera focal lengths there are, and then choose the one that you like the most and just run with it. Don't change it. Just lean into that one. Like for me, 25 to 30 is actually kind of one that I prefer. Not for everything, but for a lot of them, yes. By the way, this worm is going to be a hard one to try and animate, if you can't tell already. This is showing that I did not make the rig very well because I didn't expect to have to need to do this with the worm. And now I'm kind of paying the price. I wanted just a simple little jump, and I didn't realize that a jump was going to be so very hard for this character. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like that. The head comes to a complete standstill there, and it shouldn't. It should have a little bit of a follow through, so. By the way, folks, be extra careful as of late. There's a lot of scammers out there right now. And if you didn't see the news, I suspect there's going to be there's probably going to be a lot of security problems over the next few days. I think a lot of people are probably going to be in trouble. And the people in the tech world are going to have to be extra vigilant because I suspect a lot of bad actors are going to probably be doing some not so good things as they start to get caught in their acts. So anyway, we won't go over that too much, but let's just say that I'm not surprised by the recent announcements about the voting scandals and whatnot. This is a tech problem, and this is not a party problem. This is a tech problem, and things that people in the tech world have known about for a long time and ignored because it was convenient. Why is my thing still having problems here? I disabled the downloads. Okay, is that working better? Seems to be. Okay. Maybe it was just on my end, but I was having all sorts of audio distortion. So that's why I just had to reset everything. I need to do some cord management over the next few days. Anyway, back to the races. Generally, the characters should look good in perspective, right? On standard focal length settings. Send me a screenshot of what you're encountering, and that way I can better see what it is that you're encountering. Have to turn the laptop on, indeed. Let's try a different option. One of the one of the things that I'm trying to learn about in this Blender journey is whether or not it's good to use just the standard bone system, or if it's better to have targets. And I gotta say, in the last couple of years, I've found that targets seem to work better. Targets give a lot of variety for your setup. It allows you to move it around a lot more smoothly, especially if you're traveling a distance. So initially the, uh-oh. So initially the, this animation had a lot of keyframes for the head, and now I'm just kind of removing it and using a target system. By the way, by the time I use this worm character again, he's going to get a complete, total overhaul because this is horrendous. I'm going to do a system that's similar to how the fishing line is done, but not till the next episode. If this character does get used in the next episode, of course. Cascader. I remember hearing about that. I know it's popular for a lot of animators to try and use. I myself have not done anything more than try and open it up, and it drove me crazy. And then I promptly stopped using it. Man, I messed up on this rig. How do I say that? I'm going to just say Tashar because don't know how to say the whole thing there. Have you used that? And if so, what are your thoughts on that tool? It's like AI, but it's very good, specific for blocking out. You can make different selections for hand and other parts. Ah, yes, indeed. Yeah, I initially gave it a try with a humanoid rig that I made, and I ended up getting a little frustrated with the tool. And then I realized that I didn't understand the basics, so I avoided the tool because I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to learn and grow. And in doing so, it helped to force my brain to become much more familiar with the tool, and hopefully will pay out long term. But of course, a lot of pros would look at my skill set and say, nope, you should have definitely gone with it. I'm not very good. I do realize that. I'm a work in progress. Oh, that's how I can make this feel a little bit more natural. I'm going back this the wrong way. This is in water. So obviously when you push off like that, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to spin. All right, let's give that a try. Let's see what happens here. So we're going to have him spin. Let's see how that looks. That will add more motion blur and help to fix the rig mistakes that I had. That's something. Have to refine that a little bit more. Okay, I get it. The more zoomed in I am, the better it looks. Still looks weird. Yeah, indeed. But yeah, feel free to still share a screenshot so I can see what you're referring to if there's anything you want to figure out how to fix. Now there's Komodo AI, which can use prompts to make animations. It's free online. Yeah, I know. There's a big push to try and get AI integrated. But I'm the sort of person that if I had a choice, I would still be doing old-fashioned blacksmithing. Just a hammer, an iron, fire. That's all I really need. But alas, it doesn't really do well for the modern era. And so thus, this is my way of maintaining a little bit of tradition by maintaining the art done by human hands. I know the prompting is really easy these days, but you don't grow if you do it. And I've already seen my own mind slipping in things when I have used AI, even for the experimenting. So thus, I started to resist. And like, if I'm going to learn, I'm going to learn and try and put my best foot forward in it and get better. In doing so, I can hopefully be able to overcome future challenges because I've maintained a pliable brain. Ooh, that's looking pretty good. Orthographic, like the reference sheet perspective. Ah, yes, that is understandable. So notice how it's all kind of, it's because your face is fairly round. One thing you can do to help it is to make the face a little bit flatter. That's a good way to do it. But overall, pretty good. I like it. Look forward to seeing how that model turns out. Flatter. Got it. That's right. Smush his face. Act like you took a hammer and just bopped him in the nose. One of my, on my X account, I have in the header, avid AI hater. I don't just say that to be like, trendy. I put that on there way before when AI was just getting started. And I was like, I want to make a statement. I want to show about what I believe about the whole system. And I believe in the last couple of years, I've been vindicated in my assumptions. Almost every prediction I gave of it has come true. Almost every prediction I've heard other people give of the bad things that would happen have already started to come to pass. And I've yet to see one of the blessings truly come about. I've only seen the negative, and I have seen some positive. I'm not saying it's not without its potential. But human beings are made to struggle. And the less we struggle, the harder I believe life is going to get. Oh, I got it. I know why this is not looking good. Let's move it to here. And we're going to delete these right here. And now we're going to have a new one. Copy it right there. This is going to be our spin control. Have you ever been so convinced of something that that you had dreams about it, and you have a gut feeling that is hard to convey? Something that is so troubling to you, and you heard about it when you were young, and then you look at it, and you actually start to see it come to pass in the real world. And then you start wondering, was that fear a premonition? Was it a vision? What do you do with that? Now, I'm not saying that I have had a vision about AI, but I've definitely had something that has troubled me for a long time. And the first time that I really saw it start to come to pass was when I was in my first year of college, 2008. And somebody came along and showed a brand new tool, a text writer. It would take a name and a quote and generate a news story off of it. It only worked for the sports. It didn't work for any other news article. And there's a reason for that. News in sports is repetitive. Yes, you heard that right. The news inside of the sports world is very repetitive and ridiculous. I know. There's a lot of sports fans out there that are probably having a heart attack right now just hearing that. But there is truth in that, because in the world of communications, that is the easiest job you can get, is a sports reporter. It's notoriously easy. And, you know, it's a shame, really. But it also shows that the industry was actively trying to skirt the skirt around paying people properly. And they were like, no, it takes nothing to do a news article about sports. It's all the same thing. And we have since learned that there's some truth in that. Yeah, it looks much better. Kind of want that spin to start a little sharper, though. There we go. But so that's how I got first introduced to the fact that AI was now upon us. It was the algorithm, a predictive text editor. Predictive in the sense that it would take the possible combinations of other news articles and it would mix and match them and create something that was brand new. It was a blender. I know, because we're working in Blender right now. No, in all reality, it was taking things and just mixing them together. And then it would spit something out. It was not good, but no one cared. The following year, I was in another class. And we got introduced to a music generator. I don't know why they were so determined to show us all this stuff at college. I think we were a test school. I think they saw us as a potential of, oh, we'll just show it to these guys, then they'll start making amazing stuff with it, and then we'll make millions of dollars off of it. Yeah. And we were like, nope, this stuff is stupid. And the students were very adamantly against it. Like, well, I guess we got to wait a little bit longer before we can show the whole world this tool. But the system was being created. AI was being developed. 2009 was when we got to see the music editor, the music creator. It was bad. But they were pushing music students to it. And with no remorse. And then, a couple years later, we heard about the first image generators. And they were horrible. They were terrible. But it was the holy grail, you could say, of the generative world. If they could make an image generated, anything was possible. And they succeeded, in a way, and they didn't in others. AI is good for taking two images and splicing them together. But if you don't have it, it's very hard to generate. Let's say this, for example. Because I actually did this test to test my theory and see if it was possible. I had a text editor. Sorry. I had an image generator. And I said, I want to see someone sitting in a train car, and they're looking outside the window. It couldn't do it. Now it can nowadays, but it couldn't because they didn't have that information put in there. It cannot create. It can only mix. Well, you know what sort of people only mix? People that are not creative. And I'm not saying that to be cruel. Well, I am kind of. But when you mix things together, it gets easier. Creating from scratch, that is a true mark of somebody who knows their craft. Even if they're not perfect at it, they're at least trying and they're getting better. Give me someone who is practicing their craft and growing any day over somebody who can make an instantly successful generative product. You will see people's skills start to slip over the next couple of years. People are starting to notice, and jobs are starting to notice. Not everyone, some more than others. But there are people that are starting to notice that the generative world has its limitations. But if you don't know how to create, how would you know what those limitations are? See, now that's the conundrum. How do you know when you don't know? What if I was to tell you that I had an idea for a video? It was going to have a very unique bird. The bird was going to have very long, broad wings, but it was going to taper off in a very unique manner. It was going to have these special feathers, and as the bird is flying overhead, it is taking those feathers and dropping them onto the ground. It then flies down and grabs the feathers and starts to set them up and make things with it. It starts to build homes. It starts to create portraits. It does all these things with these feathers. Does that sound weird? Yes, it should, because that's the sort of stuff that AI does. That is not creative. It's random. And it's taking things and starting to stitch them together in weird ways. The AI has seen birds lose feathers, so it's able to do that. It's able to see the birds plucking feathers and moving it around with their beaks, so it uses that. It's seen birds, create nests, and so it can do that. But if you want to have something very unique, something that is also logical and consistent, AI is not going to be able to help you. Let's say you want to have a video instead of someone that is riding an eagle into battle. That's going to be a lot harder. And if you don't have the reference material, that may not be a possibility. I did this. I had a prompt where I had this sci-fi idea where I wanted a person's helmet to have this rod that comes down. And it's a utility sort of rod where it's got like computer stuff in it and whatnot, and I described it very thoroughly, and I waited for the AI to generate it. It would not put the rod there. It would put it all over the place. It treated it like an antenna rather than a computer system. And as such, I couldn't use any of it. I tried, I went with many iterations, and it couldn't do the image once. I even gave it like a sketch. Try and make it like this, but it didn't have the reference material. So thus it failed. I noticed other things that it would fail at. Certain types of poses, certain types of backgrounds, certain colors. There's a lot of limitations. But how are you going to know if you haven't fought with it and tried to perfect your craft beforehand? That's why I don't like those tools that are out there, because it's making people lazy and they're losing their skills. There, it's finally starting to look better. Not great, but tolerable. A bit of it's going to be blurred, and that I'm going to have bubbles as well to kind of help blend that together. wish so much that I had spent more time on this work. By the way, one of the things I want to try and do over this fall is I want to try and start trying some 2D again. I've been thinking about it for a while. I feel like I'm at the point of where I can actually make it happen now. And it's actually not that hard, especially compared to how complex 3D scenes can get. Golly, look how much I've been working on just to get this worm to move. I could have animated this by hand on 2D in a moment. And here I am fighting with this because worms are very hard to do. Not so FBI. Yeah, things are going fine. How about yourself? Just fighting with this very poorly made rig that I did and trying to get it to look like it has some life in it. And it looks pretty bad. But, yeah, it's going to be good enough. It's a small part of this animation anyway. Oh, yeah, something wrong with the green screen? Probably the light. Need to get rid of more of the background. So sometimes I turn it down because the light gets a little hot. But this is my background here. A very good background for telling stories. And of course, you can still see some green screen over here. But what I prefer to do is... Oh, come on, seat. There we go. That's a little bit better. A little bit warmer. I got a very small space here to try and work with, but this way it gives me, just enough uniqueness. I face the same issues. Yeah. One of the things that I would love to try and do, get a better lit green screen, get an actual light back. Oh, that's what's going on. I just realized one of my lights got moved when I did a complete reset around here, and that light is not shining on there. That's why this light's having problems. But anyway, it was a fun background to make. There's like critters that sometimes appear back there, got the campfire, whatnot, and one day hope to be able to reach and not have my arm disappear. These are casual streams anyway, so it's not like I stress about it a whole lot. Anyway, how are you doing tonight, and what have you been working on? Do you do any art? And if so, what type do you lean into? If you don't mind, I will join you in 20 minutes. Have to go for lunch. Ah, yes, indeed. Lunch well. Hopefully it is a filling lunch. Lunch. Means exactly opposite side of the globe. So he comes right along here, and then he looks, and then the worm is going to then casually look up. So we're going to come right here. Casually look up. And then hold that pose for a moment, and then come back to here. Okay, let's move that about here. Let's move that over here. So he looks, then he looks up. He's going to hold that pose, allow the fish's eyes to follow, and then he's going to look back, and then he is going to follow when the fish gets pulled up. All right, so now we got that. Get this fixed. What is up with this? Stand by. I think it's fixed some of the problems. I just couldn't stand the bright light in my eyes. All right. Okay, so now got that stretched out. We're going to stretch out the end over here. Come back here. Now we're going to stretch out the fish animation. All right, so we got bite, bite, and panic look. Grab all of those points here of control. 1, 2, 3 rig systems. Freeze right there. Grab that and uh-oh. Much better. Come over here. And let's see here. I want to delete both these, I believe. Yep, that's good. Now we come back here. Want to grab this, this, and these. By the way, I have like twice as many motions I want to do, but I'm trying to rush through this one because I want to fix the rig before I try and do more. Like, for example, I wanted to grab Thrash, the hook a little bit more, and the whole time the worm's just looking like, really? But I don't have that time because if I did that, I would have it would be more beneficial to go back and redo the rig entirely and then do that. That's not beneficial for the short. I want to do something else entirely. I want to do one where there's actually story to it. And to get there, that means I have to test the rig. So I'm making like mental notes about things to fix. Also, you want to see the character I was making in preparation for this one I'm doing now. Sure. Be sure to send that. It's good to see progress. Okay, so that ends that shot there. Let's go see it from the start. Okay, comes in. Okay, that's something needs to happen. Needs to be the little bit of head animation here. zoom. Jump, and much better. We're going to call that one good. And then what we're going to do now is save that, render out the preview, and then add it into the sequence. Because this is still shot 1.1, technically it should be fine for that. Yeah, let's just render it over. This is going to be workbench renders anyway. I'm going to get some more to drink. Be right back. Not so FBI says, "Hi, I'm back." Welcome back. I too am back. You asked something, what was it? I was asking if you did any sort of artwork, and if so, what type? Okay, that preview is finished rendering. Going to save that, and I think the video editor should automatically update. If not, just import it back in. By the way, hope your lunch was delicious. I'm a 3D artist. I have worked on games for 4 years and ArchViz for 1 year. I haven't heard about ArchViz. I have to look into that. "3D is a lot of fun to work in, but it does have its frustrations." Architecture visualization. Ah, yes. Okay, I know what that is then. Very nice. It's one of the first times I ever worked in any sort of program. It was actually something in line with that. But it was like a prototype, an experimental version from way back when. It was interesting all the same. Ah, perfect. Okay. Nowadays, I just freelance. Mostly, I take Roblox commissions. There's Roblox again. I never got into it. But man, it sure seems to have quite the large community. I used to do freelance. Then I realized I couldn't compete life is too expensive here in Alaska. And so whenever I did a commission, I was always losing money. And then when a landlord comes by and it's like, threatening to throw you out because you're one day late on a payment, you're like, this will never pay. This will never be able to make enough. And so I did one last commission, and I was able to pay for a little bit more rent, and then it all went downhill. And I made $0 for 2025, which is, ouch. Some pay in real money, some in Roblox. So we have to convert them in real money using the DevX platform. Most intriguing. Yeah, freelance doesn't pay much. I'm looking for a job for stability. Yeah, unfortunately, the creative world has fallen off a cliff. If you have a job, then it's great. And if not, it feels like it's the end of an era. Industry is cooked. Yeah. It's a shame. When I was trying to get started, I went to college. I studied. I put in a lot of effort, a lot of money into getting even halfway decent. Then I went to try and apply for jobs, and none of them were there. All of them had gone overseas. In the company then that I was volunteering at, well, I was doing, some work for them and hoping to get a position. They were basically like, no, you're too expensive. I was working for minimum wage. Too expensive, move along. So for 2 years, I worked odd jobs and didn't make anything. Well, I did make some stuff, but it was not paying very well. And then I moved, and I was able to find a good location for having a job. And so now it allows me to be creative just for the sake of it. And that's kind of all I can ask for at this point. Haven't put any money for learning art, just learned everything from YouTube or Captain Jack Sparrow methods for paid tutorials. Yeah, understandable. When I went to school, I learned nothing. I went there for many years, and I learned more from watching YouTube during my time at university than I did from the actual classes. I was the last generation of people that bought into the idea, even if I didn't fully believe it myself at the time, bought into the idea that I was getting myself a better position by going to college. Everyone was telling me to do it. So I finally did it. I regret it. I regret it very much. I could have had my own home if I had just saved up money. But I didn't. And now homes are way too expensive. Food is through the roof, whatnot. Well, you had a bad experience with a teacher in college. Several teachers, of course. But yes, Jess, you are indeed right. It was life lessons. Hey, I get to tell you all stories for stuff like that now. So it was money well spent. Okay, well, maybe not. But, you get the idea. Life lessons do not come cheap. No, I'm not saying that you have to actually pay physical money, but it always takes a toll on you. Then it becomes a story worth telling. If it doesn't take anything from you, it will be forgettable. Oh yeah, I was just walking down the street and you know what? I saw this tree that was like just swaying in the wind. Wow, it was amazing. Where's the life lesson? Where's the, I came away from this better for it, or I learned how to avoid this. You want things like that to push you in that direction, to shove you into that reality of that things are going to be tough. And then you have a story to tell. And hopefully, the stories that I'm writing right now will benefit from stuff like that. Mostly I learned from people, from those who were paying in institutions. I met them on Discord. They used to pay and study in institutes and teach me later. Oh, yes, indeed. See, that's a good thing. You're passing on information in the industry. We are serving each other in that sense. We're getting better. Like I said, most stuff I learned was online. Want to make 3D documentary channel. I think 15-minute videos can be done in weeks. Alone 3D compositing sound. That'd be something. I do not have that speed. If you're able to make that speed, then that's quite impressive. Quite impressive indeed. And it had a life lesson with the Disney college program there. Yes, Disney took its pound of flesh. Oh, here's the thing that Jersey made. Oh, wait, let's first read it here. 122 face shapes included for mouth, teeth, and tongue. Trackable and set it up for Unity in Warudo. Interesting. Hand and eye tracking would work better if I had hardware for it. Ooh. Honestly, most impressive. Love the eye twitch there. That is most impressive. I love the ending jig there. How long did it take you to make that jersey? And good job on the seams too. That's actually quite hard for folks. 1 month and 1 week exactly. That is very impressive for 1 month and 1 week. Well done. The FBI. Oh, I mean, not so FBI. Greetings, not so FBI. And welcome. Is it okay if I share my portfolio there? I think you. No, I got rid of that feature, but you can link it, I believe, here in Twitch. And so if you're around for a while, then you become the next level in the Discord with the ability to share that. I think I got rid of it. You can try, but we had somebody that was spamming it a whole lot a couple of weeks ago, and so I had to turn it off on the Discord. But you should be able to share it over here on the Twitch side, and then I can pull it up. Actually, wait a minute. Based upon my setup here. It might be it. Oh, I know how to do it. I'm not a very good at managing this sort of stuff. I get too distracted with other things, so I haven't put my time to really mastering it. Okay, let's copy that. Then I come over here. And then I can put in over here art. Where is this? Why am I spacing on it? It's under art. Okay. There, now I've linked it. All right, let's pull this on up over here. Oh. Most impressive. Tools include Photoshop. 3ds Max. Ah, there's a classic. And V-Ray. I love that the fire's flat. I know. You probably had a sprite there, or a PNG, but I recognize that challenge for trying to do stuff like that. One of the best ways to try and help fix that is to just offset it and then have them overlapping each other. But that room is very well rendered. Love the lighting and love the placements here. That is good layout. That's really artistic. Those are sinks, I believe, right? Huh. That feels like something you would see in like one of those 5-star ritzy hotels across the globe, of which I have the ritziest hotel I've ever been in was just a normal bland sink. It was not super ritzy. It was just like, it was pretty mediocre. I don't have the money to go to, really fancy places. Man, that's very lovely. Nicely done. Yes, they are sinks. Very nice. Actually, client work and all of these exist in reality. Wow. Imagine having the it'd be something to go to a place like that. Of course, again, I would never be able to afford stuff like that, but it would be something. Be very memorable. It's a very interesting light. I like the idea of where you have the light band that's just kind of going all over the place. That would help out tremendously for shadows. Wait, let me just update this balcony. Oh, you can update live. Very nice. I made so many changes in that later. Looks like Art Deco, but don't know much about architecture, says Jersey. So I actually know somebody that works in this industry. And, well, actually, I know quite a few at this point. But one person in particular that I know who has worked in this industry, and it is... Whenever I look at the renders, I always get very... I do get a bit discouraged when I see it because I look at my renders and I realize that because it's animation, it always is going to have a lot more struggle to try and reach that level of realism. I would love to be able to do realistic stuff, but opportunities for that in the world of animation is kind of slim unless you want to spend, thousands of hours just for one shot. ArcViz is simple, to be honest. Helped me a lot to improve lighting. Indeed. One of the I got to travel to a couple of places around the world, including Europe and Japan. And most of it that I saw was from little tiny towns where there's things like castles, historic monuments, things like that. And there was one time where I walked by a hotel, and you could see from inside it was ritzy. And this was this was about, I forgot when it was, but I walked up to it because I thought, I want to see what's on the inside. And I walked on up to the front desk, and I was going to ask if I could get a tour of the place. Well, you know, not like a full tour, but, you know, just get to see a little bit more than the front. And then they basically said, nope. And they told me to vamoose. And so I did. I just wanted to see what I'll never get to stay in. Yeah, overall, that is some pretty nice work. And well done. Not so FBI. Do know Friend and Neo YouTube channel videos. I don't think I am familiar with that. All right, so let's take a look at this here. All right, the next step of this process is to make a hand. All right, so let's get a hand rig. It's been a while since I've done a hand rig, so this could take a little bit of time here. I used to design a lot of different characters, and I noticed that my ability to create characters has gotten better in some cases, and in some ways not so much, because I don't practice as many types of characters. I used to do all sorts of characters, so this could be a little bit of quite a few challenges here in this process. Actually, let me start off by just blocking this out. This might work out better if I do it this way. Do you think later models after studies are faster or kind of the same as for time to make? That's a very good question. For me, I find that when I first do something, it takes me a long time. To redo it is faster, but to do it again is not necessarily faster. And the reason why is because after you've done it a second time, you see areas to improve. And sometimes that doesn't always work for speed. And so instead of it being faster, it ends up taking longer. But by the fourth and the fifth time, it gets faster. It gets much faster until you've spent enough time and you start to forget it. Kind of like me right now. Being a little bit forgetful and not probably going to be as successful at trying to make this, but we will see. I'm kind of used to projects that take a month or two to make them, but it's not good to for blogging. Yeah, that's, if you're trying to get a social following, 3D can be a bane. It can be very tough. And one of the reasons why is because for you to do something that really is working out well, that's beautiful, that's well pieced together, that takes time. You're not going to get that really for what you do. It takes you so long. Like for me, when I post something on social media, I post it once every few weeks at this point because I'm not fast enough for it. Most artists are not, unless they're using AI or something. But there is a method that does exist that I've been trying to figure out how to do, and I don't know how to best implement it without potentially problems happening. My text got flagged. There's a couple of things that we have, unless it's like an automated one from Twitch, there are some things that we have kind of blocked because of things that people have said in the past, and so I end up just like blocking some phrases. So if it's a phrase, then that can trigger it. Or it could be one of those things that Twitch has implemented and I just don't know about it. So all I can say is my apologies. So what's the workaround that I was thinking about? I was originally going to try and start working with a team of filmmakers in the making. We had an idea, and we were going to try and implement it, and it, in the end, did not work out, and they did not want to actually work with me. They just wanted to kind of go off on their own way, and, that was never going to work well in that sense. So basically, they went on, and I went on my own way too. But the idea that we had was that we were going to band together, and in order to get around some of the posting challenges, what we were going to do is we were going to have a master account, and all the accounts all the kind of secondary accounts, the ones that were for each individual person, was going to be going into it. So that way you could have regular posts, and that way you get seen as a team. When you're not a team, it takes you forever and a day to post stuff. And so thus your presence gets hard to be seen. You have to post every single day for a following to actually care. If I was smart and I had a couple years ago put my head to it, I would have actually made that system work. But it was a rudimentary idea, and we didn't actually follow through with it. I do believe it would work. And some people have actually done that, but they tend to be places that you pay in order to promote your stuff, and all you're doing is feeding their pockets. And so it's kind of frustrating to deal with, and then you just don't want to do it anymore. So what I would say would be nice is if there was a way to have a unified way of where each person, if they want to get paid for it, well, then this is not really a good way to do it, but there is a way to kind of divvy it up a little bit better. It just would take a lot of time, and the revenue and income that you get from it would kind of be worthless. That's why it would only work good for getting commissions. Sometime back, though, I did have this concept kind of in the works, and we had the plan all set. This was another group that I was working with. We had the idea set. We were going to give it a shot. And then leadership came in and was like, nope, we don't want to have that. And so thus the idea again died on the vine. For now, the plan is I make universal models for, in total, 2 masculine and 2 feminine, as there are 2 distinct races in Splatoon, Octolings and Inklings, and I'll try to pose and draw over them, or use those fun shaders and make 3D looking like cartoon, like line art in 2D. I'm trying to figure something cool out. The characters will have my hybrid anatomy, so it's not like I'm wasting time, as I can just download a 1-for-1 model from the game. It's not a bad idea. I did something similar when I was getting started, and I didn't necessarily stay on that path because I got ideas that just didn't quite work for that. But it's not a bad idea, and I know a lot of folks that have kind of done similar sorts of things. So you're thinking smart there. By the way, this blocking phase, not super necessary, but I found recently that it can be beneficial, and so that's why I'm taking the time to actually kind of do this method here. Is it a method I do all the time? No. Is it one that I've recently started to enjoy doing? Yes. What do you do? What is your full-time job? Well, I work as a creative troubleshooter. Basically, work comes to me and says, we need this done, make it happen. And I make it happen. If that means do something in 3D, do it in 3D. If it means design logos, I design logos. If it means create a video, I create a video. Website, PowerPoints, documents, 3D prints. Creative troubleshooter. It is not a job that you can easily put in for in that sense, because most jobs will never hire for something like that, because they're like, why would we need something like that? Lo and behold, the place I'm at, they were like, hey, this actually makes sense. That's not my official title, but that's what I call it, because basically that's what I am. It's one of the reasons why I'm not an actual pro, because I'm the definition of being God, I'm even forgetting the term. Just a second here. Why can't I not remember this? Jack of all trades, master of none. Wow. Wow. Apparently, memory and citation is not on my list of skills. That was pretty bad. Changing characters shouldn't be much of a problem, as characters in Splatoon are very unisex. I can tell by small differences like eyelashes, lengths. So what you're kind of looking at, though, is not really a change to the mesh. You're just changing the features, facial features. So you like adding eyelashes. You can add that and you don't have to worry about, making it part of the original mesh. So it's pretty good. I wonder if I should show you the characters I did a while back. Make it with shape keys, maybe. You could. Yeah, you could. Jack of all, ace of none is a half phrase. Search the full version. It's good. Yes, that is indeed true. Good catch there. Yes, I too made that mistake of not giving the full quote. Golly, I'm just as bad as the people out there that have quoted this in the past. So. Because yes, I know it's a bit of a twist there. A jack of wait, just a second. Let's get some more serious here.
A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Good catch there, Tarsh. Tashar. Sorry, my pronunciation of words has always been challenged. What about Kratos' voice?
Boy.
One of the nice things of this, the ability to do the sound effects.
You can do all sorts of stupid stuff.
And freak people out.
This thing comes in handy when you're being a storyteller. Are you a voice actor? I'm a voice actor for my own projects. I have volunteered for other stuff. No one's taken me up on it. I have done quite a bit of that sort of stuff in the past. Actually, one of the early things I did in the streams was to go under the name of Milo. And I was going across the West and telling people stories as I was encountering them in that game, Red Dead Redemption #2. It was quite the interesting adventure, but I was always doing it in character. And sometimes we would do games where it would be things like Among Us, and it would be community games, and I would get into voice characters and whatnot. And it was always... it was entertaining to me. We'll just put it that way. I like this one. It's like a voice from the sky prophecy. Indeed. But anyway, it's been, I did a lot of that stuff early on in streaming. It's actually how I kind of got my start, when I was trying to figure out what to do with the streams. And I was trying to help a guy get better with his acting skills. And so I said, hey, we'll work together. We'll make a role play stream where we're going to just play out our characters. And he had fun the first time around, but he just couldn't quite get into that concept of role play. And even though he wanted to do voice acting, he ended up not doing it. And so, but we were doing the role play in order to help perfect his, help him get familiar with telling stories on the fly sort of thing. Well, Among Us was entertaining, but frustrating to be playing the game with you as a character. I know. I would be going along and saying, hey, everybody, I think I saw the bad guy over there. And I would be the bad guy sort of thing. Or being things like, it was another day as I was walking along the path and I saw a dead body off to the side. I thought, I wonder who did that. But I didn't want to let anyone know that I knew, lest they try and come and get me. So as they gathered me all around, and everybody's listening to me just ramble about this stuff when we're in like the hey, who done it phase. And I started getting a little nervous as I thought maybe they would think I was the killer. And so people would sometimes throw me out the vent because they're like, just get him to shut up sort of thing. Yeah, like I said, it was entertaining for me. I think we did maybe 5 streams like that. It was always a challenge to try and get enough people because you have to have like a minimum of 5 for it to really work. And many times we had just 3 or 4, and while it could work a little bit, it was kind of over after the first person was eliminated. By the way, folks, if you are on one of the platforms that can give a thumbs up, consider that. And if you don't like the streams, you know what, we accept thumbs down because it means you're probably not a bot. Because we have had many views in the past, but the bots are the number one thing I cannot stand. So even if people dislike the streams, at least it's telling us, you know what, you spent a little bit of time with us. And that is enough. And also confound that stupid AI and bots. So yes, we've had a plethora of bots that have tormented me over the past. And thankfully, it's not so much this last year. What is your CPU/GPU? The GPU is a 5080, and actually I believe that's what it is. Let me double check this here. What is it? It's Okay, yeah, it's an RTX 5080 and a Ryzen 9. I hate Substance Painter. My file crashed the third time, and I have to start again. Ugh. You know, I've never once opened Substance Painter. I know it's a good software. If not a little finicky and a little buggy, but I know it is very popular for people in the space, and I've yet to actually give a crack at it. What do you use then? Mari? No, I use my own stupid head to try and do that stuff. I am about as down to earth as you can get when it comes to this stuff. Wow, then it's a really good PC. Top 5% maybe? Nope, not even close. If you want a real good machine, this is not it. This is a gaming computer. It is not good for renders and animation. My old machine was better because it can do actual animations and render them at a much faster speed because it actually had render GPUs, quadros. But yeah, it's right now I'm only doing this because I'm on stream. Otherwise, I would want to use the other machine because the other machine is better for this sort of stuff. But if I want to stream it, it causes the machine to choke. And if you remember in the past, when I would be chatting, when I would suddenly end up sounding
maybe a little bit of a robot voice and glitching all over the place and like welcome back
to the stream, everybody. Oh yeah, it was rendering in the background and you couldn't hear me for the last like 5 minutes. It was things like that was happening. Or I would open up the folder and it would crash the system and the computer would die on me because there was too much that was being asked on it. That sort of stuff. Not So FBI says, I know a guy who has worked on multiple big movie titles and he makes characters. He has a supercomputer. That would be very nice. A real supercomputer. Most of us will never get to have that sort of experience. Must be something. I wonder what the productivity must be. That'd be really, really cool. Let's see, how do we do this here? Still, overall, as for overall population, you must be in the top 5%. Nope, not even. Not even. Most people that I know in the space have much better machines. I got mine on discount. Was that Batman's voice for a second? That person has like 192 gigs of RAM. See, now that is a top tier machine. This one does not have anywhere close to that. Yeah, well, in Blender, Bubble maybe, but overall, no. This is technically a medium range based upon what you can find here in the States. And if you go over to some other places, you will find even higher end machines. It kind of depends on what you're working in. So, for example, if you were to go to the average gamer's home, you will find that they have a similar sort of machine, but they have decked it out with extra RAM or extra memory, putting their machine even more powerful than mine. I took shortcuts on this one. Things like that. It is better. I would say maybe it's in the top, maybe not even the top 10. I mean, if you count all the smaller laptops, then yes, it would probably be the top 10, but not the top 5, definitely. If I was to really deck this thing out, then I could get it to the top 5, but I don't have the finances for that one. This was already hurting me quite a bit to do that upgrade. It helps when you don't have debt. When you don't have debt, you're able to make that stuff happen a little bit easier. You don't have to wait as long. You can use that to work and use this in the meantime to stream. I think that's what a lot of people do. Yes, indeed. 5080 is not medium range. Yes, that is not medium range. It's the RAM. The RAM is what kills you nowadays. 5080 is crazy. It is so very crazy. I mean,
It's so crazy!
If you're comparing for gaming, then it is better if you compare with people, for those who are in the creative industry, then it's, yep, not even close. It is, I know a lot of people that have 2 to 3 GPUs. The third one's usually a hard one to try and add in. A lot of motherboards nowadays struggle with it, but I knew one guy who had, how many GPUs? He was my roommate, actually. He had I want to say it was 4 GPUs. And he had a 5th one that was a Rogue. And I don't know how he had it connected. It was a custom built machine. And that thing could render like no tomorrow. And I asked him, what's this for? He's like, well, it's for my work. It's like, your work? What the heck are you working on that requires that much computing power? 4 GPUs built in and a 5th one like kind of floating somewhere? How are you even using all that? Well, he was a coder and he was able to actually get every ounce of power out of it. And then when his commissions were done, he then used it for Bitcoin mining. And then he told me, you should get into Bitcoin. I'm like, no, I don't really want to. And he got in way early. Nowadays, it's like, dangerous to get in because you're likely going to be the one holding the bag as the whole thing falls out from under you. But he got in like way early. My country, a 5080 alone costs more than my whole 5060. Oh, yep. Wow, that is way more than what it is over here. That might be a price difference for your country in particular. Because yeah, over here it was more expensive, but it wasn't nearly that amount. There's been a lot of times where I was not in on like the on big trends or whatnot, kind of like my roommate tell me, hey, you should get into this, or he told me to get into Blender, and I was like, no, I'm going to use Maya instead. And now here I am using Blender all these years later because I can't afford Maya. I got rid of Adobe because I cannot afford Adobe anymore. So, but the thing is that, lo and behold, he told me, like, this is the tool to go with if you want to be in this industry. And I skipped out, and I kind of wish I had taken him up on that years and years ago. $1,500 is one of the cheapest online shops. That's a pretty decent price. Multiple factors, CUDA cores, yeah, all that stuff. He would be filthy rich. Yeah, he would be. Yeah, my roommate, I think, probably became a multimillionaire. I don't know. haven't heard from him in a long time. He had some challenges that I think would probably make it very difficult to hear from him. I've known a couple of people that got rich, got like very rich. And, every last one of them, it didn't turn out very well. I missed out on, I think, like 5 major opportunities to make it rich. I missed out on every one of them. And I'm not really all that disappointed. No, I'm not just saying that because, it makes me feel better because, then I don't feel like an idiot. No, it's because I saw what happened to them. There was one guy, he made multi-millions of dollars streaming on YouTube. And you know what happened to him? He became bitter. He became alone. His marriage fell apart. His kid disowned him. His friends wanted him money or nothing to do with him. He was always tired. He hated everyone. And very quickly, everyone was coming to hate him. Did he win by getting that fortune? No. Nope. Wealth is not the source of all evil, but it is something that makes it easier to descend into evil. It's the root of all kinds of evil. And a lot of people don't realize what it is that they're starting to get themselves into. I'm somebody who observes life through those who have made decisions that I have not. And I observe how they fare in their life moving forward. And I find that the people that make it really rich, really fast, suffer and pay for it. And eventually start to say how much they regret it, how much they wish they would go back. And people are like, oh, well, that's probably just because you got it good and you don't want other people to know. And they're, until you talk with them, and then you realize, no, this person's like being eaten alive inside. They are in grief and they got no idea how to stop. There's a very easy solution. Leave the money. No, I'm not saying that you're supposed to abandon all money. But when it starts to become your deity, or it starts to consume you in everything that you do, better be careful. Because that's where things are really going to start coming and haunting you. And I don't want people to end up in that sort of situation. I've seen enough people end up like that, and it's depressing. It's very, very sad because a lot of these people, if you gave them that ability to go back in time and redo it all, they would do it in a heartbeat. One guy who did make it rich, I think, I don't know for certain, he lost his health. He at least made money. I don't know how much, but shortly thereafter, his health took a downturn. What good is money if your health is in jeopardy? What good is money if your marriage is in jeopardy? What good is money if your friends are in jeopardy? That stuff comes in. It doesn't sound like that big of a deal when you're younger. Until you start getting older, then you're like, now I understand. When it's too late. When it is too late. Got it, money comes first thing, first manager, and one manager and one therapist. Yep, definitely need that therapist. And then the therapist takes all the money and runs. Then you're like, wait a minute. Man, money is a tool. And if you're not seeing it as a tool, well, then it starts to control you. There's a scary looking hand. Ooh.
What a very spooky hand. He's gonna come and give you a giant high five.
Fear the hand. Now, the only hand that you have to worry about is the giant hand in Super Smash Brothers. When it comes down and, attacks the player. Okay, now that we have this hand, the idea is to now use that as the template. So we're going to move this into a new one. Guide. Now we're going to lock it. I wanted to try and figure out like some of the general muscle groups and then use that as like the concept of how I want it to be shaped. Because now, if I was to take this and just kind of convert it over into a mesh that has like proper topology, it wouldn't look so bad. The goal is trying to look for the silhouettes. Kind of looks like a robotic arm right now. I've never respected money, and the older I get, it doesn't really change. But I never had trouble with it, so maybe that's why. There's a couple of temptations we should be grateful that we don't have to struggle with. One of them is money. Money is a very tempting thing, and anyone in any stage of life can end up becoming obsessed with it. But if you love people, that tends to become a little bit harder for that money to try and get a hold of you. The other one is power. Power is the real temptation. I've said this before on streams. Power is the most dangerous of temptations. Beware, beware, beware. The moment you get power, it is like money, but it doesn't have any monetary restrictions, and it will consume everyone around you. I just saw where someone made a Stitch version of a BB-8 called BB626. Clever. I don't really spend much though. I don't like buying stuff. See, you have a healthy respect for things that, are more important than money. And that's an important thing to have. All right, so now let us add in actual mesh here. Let's start off by just getting some circles for this. Could forward it to you on Instagram. Yeah, sure. Do that. I won't be able to pull it up on stream because I don't have it linked to this PC, but I at least can see it on my side. Oh, that's clever. That's really clever. Oh, we took it apart and we put them back together. It is a BB-8. They did other crossover droids. That's a clever idea. I realize what time it is. We're not going to be able to go on for much longer here. As we come to a close, here's what to expect for this next week. We're going to do a stream tomorrow and the day after and the day after that. Then it looks like there's going to be a little bit of a hiatus until next Friday, I think. So just be forewarned. It's 3:05 in the evening. 3:05 in the evening. Dandy. Yeah, it's that's one of the weird things about time zones. It's like it still baffles me, the fact that we're talking across multiple time zones. By the way, folks, again, much appreciated for the time you spent on this. Hopefully you found something of merit around here, and hopefully you learned something, even if it's just hearing stupid stories. Hopefully it was something that was at least, enjoyable enough. This arm is probably going to take me another 2 streams to get done, because I want to rig it, and it's going to have to be better because this is going to be used in the next short. This one is actually, unlike the worm, a very crucial thing to have. And so I expect it's probably going to take a bit more time than I'm wanting, but it'll be a good thing. Yeah, so we're going to call this good for right now. I'm going to save this, and we will start our wrap up. Let's see currently. Yeah, should be good. That means one of the time zones that has its half hour. Oh yeah, that's exactly true. So it must be one of those unique time zones. Most intriguing. By the way, if you guys didn't see, supposedly we're going to be getting rid of daylight savings time here in the US. That could be interesting. I've been wanting to see that come to an end for a long time, and it looks like that might actually happen. We'll see. All right, we saved that. Let's start the wrap up. Thanks everyone for coming on over to tune in and see what I got going on here. Hopefully you found something of merit. If so, give a thumbs up. And if you disapprove of this stuff, give a thumbs down. I'll accept that because it means you're flesh and blood. If you want to see some particular things in the future, be sure to mention it. I am open to stuff. To show the amount of dedication I put into stuff, someone mentioned a couple of years ago, you should write a story based upon the Milo adventures. And I took that to heart. And I've been writing a novel for the last 2 years. So when I say I accept suggestions, that's the level of dedication I put to this sort of stuff. So maybe it's ridiculous what I do here. Anyway, I find enjoyment in doing that sort of stuff. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. Have a pleasant evening and morning, everybody, no matter where you are. Just remember, be civil to one another and share that civility with somebody in your neck of the woods. Until next time, folks, have a very pleasant evening.